What's raging, gamers? Good morning. Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh, you know me. I'm doing fantastic, as always. How about yourself, Chris?
Hey, everything's great, man. I'm looking forward to the Turkey Lurkey Day. I'm looking forward to seeing the cousins and all the Rugrats running around, and I'm for sure going to be stuffing the platter and filling this belly up. How about yourself?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think actually, though, when it comes to like Thanksgiving stuff, I really, really love gravy with butter on a piece of bread. That is like my favorite thing.
Not the turkey, not the ham, none of that, not the
I mean,
stuffing.
that's good too. Don't worry. I'm going to have plenty of that. But, like, I don't know. Just the bread with gravy and butter just does something different to me.
Hey, everybody's got their fix on Thanksgiving Day, and I hope you, the gamers, enjoy yourself with your friends and family on such a special occasion. But hey, we're here to talk about gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. And we always like to start off the show with the bang and discuss all the viral content that's circulated all across the globe. And who would have realized that November 21st is such an iconic day for Nintendo? Because November 21st marks the 25th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And I don't know about you. Yes, I know, right? Yes. I mean, it's one of those. Oh gosh, look, I'm already. It's going down. The mic's going down. It's one of those iconic games where these are those intros before you even hit the start button that lives in your cranium all these years. And let's take a trip back down memory lane. I remember going to my grandma's house. Yeah, right. I remember going to my grandma's house, Boppy, love you to death. And we would always fight for the controllers because we always grew up as Team PlayStation at my household. So the only time we can get our hands on the Nintendo 64 was at my grandma's house. And I've had so many great times. Isn't that one of the best beginnings of a video game? I've never thought I would ever get so emotional over a dying tree. I mean, how silly does that sound? Yeah. What was your favorite moment in that game?
Well, I have plenty of good memories growing up playing that game because my older sister was playing that game alongside me at the same time. And, me being the younger sibling, I kind of didn't know what the hell I was doing. But we did have a Prima strategy guide, and I actually still have it in my room here. So
I'd read it. That.
I would, yeah. I mean, it's like torn up and all that because I read it as just like an actual book so many times. But getting lost in the water temple was definitely a core memory for me.
Yeah, I know, right? You don't get those like traditional checkpoints. You better figure it out on your own.
Exactly.
It's legendary. And it's not just the Legend of Zelda that's being celebrated today. Also on November 21st marks the 22nd anniversary of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube, first released in Japan. And fun fact, it's not called Super Smash Bros. Melee in Japan. It's actually called Super Smash Bros. DK. So if you actually have that physical copy, I'm sure it's worth some dinero here on the Western civilization. But hey, let's take a trip down memory lane. Thinking about some of those go-to characters, what's the one that you like to go to the most?
Oh, it has to be my boy Captain Falcon.
Yeah, Captain Falcon's a great choice. I'd probably still say Zelda, as much as we're even talking about the 25th anniversary. It's him, or I'd probably say Kirby, because when you're in a rut and you're falling off the edge of the map, who's the only ones that can really kind of elevate you back to the top? I think it's those two.
Yeah, pretty much. Kirby especially, because he just continues to fly, and then you get back up, and your opponent's like, come on, man.
Right. And you look at these awesome you know visuals when it comes to even the Japan release to the American release, and who wouldn't want to gravitate towards it? I mean, do you remember a character that you just were like, nah, that's never the go-to play?
You know, I don't think I can remember because I remember really trying to learn at least every character to a some degree, and every character's fun in some way or the other. Like they don't necessarily always play the same way, but each of them have their own play style for a reason,
Yeah, I would probably say it's the ice climbers because once you lose them, one of them at least,
Really?
then you're really a dud. What are you gonna do? You lose some of the elements.
You know what? That sounds like a skill issue, Chris.
It is a skill issue. Man, I set myself up for that one. And but like we said, we wanted to celebrate some of those great games that dropped during our awesome childhood. But we're here to talk about some viral content that's been circulating all across the globe. And people have been getting so creative in the year 2023 when it comes to these PC rigs. I don't know if this is necessarily something that you should be doing, but HenricK's probably like, I have no idea what you're about to showcase. That's the point. We're about to get his reaction in real time. And you too, gamers.
He is creative. He made it work. And you know what? At least you can say that. It might not look the greatest, but it's creative.
Yeah, that's so true, man. I know the very first comment that we got here is, I know so many games that would make this thing melt. When you think of a game that would make this thing melt, what would be that game? I'm thinking about GTA 5 Online. I mean, the longest loading time of all time still. That would melt that jug.
It used to be that I would say like, oh, Crisis for sure. But I think nowadays it's more so a game like Cyberpunk, like at max settings. That game's gonna stress your system.
Second comment we got is, this is going to be louder than the PS4. So true. I can speak for that. I've been making jokes about it all year. It's time for me to move on. Bro had money for RGB and not a case. Hey, gaming on a budget. What can you do, fam?
Yeah.
But you start thinking about, some of the things that have been going around, and we've been kind of talking about how people have been clickbaiting. I don't know if iShowSpeed is doing it for the clout. We all know he's a diehard Ronaldo fan, and the new EA Sports FC, when you're playing Ultimate Team, it's not always easy to get the players that you truly love because you're opening up these packs and you never know what might come out of it. It's like, ripping open the decks when you got your Yu-Gi-Oh! Or your Digimon or Pokemon. So iShowSpeed finally had his moment. Let's take a look. Dude's too much, bro. Like way too much. Because let's go. Just might as well jump into the first comment. Yeah. Like I said, I thought bro meat fell out again. The fact that like Twitch keeps continuously banning people and he's still online still kind of shocks me. And the fact that he's even playing that as a running joke on his own live stream. Wild.
Well, clout.
Clout, right? Blood is only an 86 overall. Well, that's what happens when you play for Saudi Arabia. They're dog wet and they flop like a fish. And the third comment, I don't know how people can like mid-ass sports games like FIFA, but you do you. Guess what, buddy? It's not FIFA no more. It's EA Sports FC. I mean, this sounds like a guy who's never even played the game. Why are people haters when they don't even touch the game yet?
Hey, I mean, I don't have an interest in any sports games personally, so I kind of get it. But at the same time, you know what? You do you. If you enjoy playing a game and, people think it's a bad game, just have fun. That's what it's meant to be. Just a game that you have fun playing, right?
But don't you think it's kind of funny with the gaming community how like people will create viral content like iShowSpeed and you'll go, is he clout chasing? But then you also have the people behind the screens smacking their thumbs on their iPhones or Androids that are also looking for the clout.
It's true. Yeah.
It's a problem. But I've been a big fan of the Fortnite OG. I think it's a lot of fun. One of my favorite vehicles, or I guess moving object, whatever you want to call it. It's a snowboard. It's a virtual snowboard. It's one of the most badass elements about Fortnite, and I'm really hoping that they keep it around when it comes to the new season update. But people are utilizing the opportunity to create some awesome viral content that this might be the greatest troll moment of all times. I'm even considering even jumping on a live stream, and just my only mission and only mission only is to do exactly what this guy did.
Well done, Agent 47.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Why wouldn't you want to do it? I mean, I think that's the big, like, really good reason. Like, if you do this task and you die in duos and your friend gets mad at you, who cares? You got a great clip that came out of it. Very first comment that we got here is, bro needed a teammate, so he stole one. Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah.
Bro's reboot card is in the air. That's why this would have been more legendary if it was in no build mode. It's literally floating there, and the guy has no chance.
Yeah, that person's not coming back
anytime soon. And last, ankles broken, friends stolen. Man, I love those kind of videos. But hey, I'm so glad that you guys are with us here live on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And while we're at this moment, you might as well hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely. You know what time it is. It's time to rage.
Time to rage, baby. Let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower is an indie game that came out earlier this year and grabbed the attention of platforming game fans. The game may look like a joke, but is completely competent. Which leads us to the gameplay. Let's take a look. This game is a spiritual successor to the Wario Land games. If you are especially familiar with Wario Land 4, this game will be like coming home. After taking a look at the main character, Peppino, you can even see a clear inspiration from Nintendo's character Wario. That being said, the game is not a complete ripoff. Pizza Tower has the same gameplay loop as Wario Land 4. Traverse a level and then hit a switch and go back to the start of the level, usually a different way you came in and with a time limit. But Peppino has some abilities that Wario never had, with an emphasis on speed. While Wario games can be fast-paced, this game takes it to a whole new level of speed by comparison, by letting you keep your momentum much longer. All the while, many of the levels have a gimmick that will differentiate them from other levels, and that helps keep things feeling fresh. But what kind of levels are we going through and for what reason? Let's dive into the story to figure that out. The story is as wacky as the MS Paint art style of this game. To sum it up, you're playing as Peppino Spaghetti, a pizza chef. One day, he finds he will need to climb Pizza Tower if he would like to save his shop from being blown up by a giant laser. As you can tell, the story is more of a gateway to the gameplay, but that doesn't mean it takes away from anything by being that way. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
This game is indie gaming at its best, I'll say, because, I mean, what AAA studio would ever do a game like this? The art style, the wackiness, the unhinged nature of the character. I don't think a AAA studio would want to ever do something like this. And that's really where indie gaming shines, because they can experiment with this sort of thing. And guess what? This game was a hit. It actually got a lot of praise from critics and fans alike.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it definitely gives you that like 90s Nickelodeon mashed together with Supersonic. It's packed with secret levels and music, and the sound design is awesome in this game. You'll notice that there was a countdown that was going when you're trying to do these levels, and when you get closer to the 0 mark, the music intensifies, making your blood pulse and your heart start beating out of your chest. Those are the kind of elements that are going to be a lot of fun. But I kind of felt like when I was playing the game, It feels like something that you would see on addictinggames.com if anybody even remembers that. The completion time's about 5 to 6 hours. Me personally, with the kind of the 2D platforms, with all the iconic games out there in 2023, I'd probably pause and move on. It's not necessarily a repeat for me, but it is being praised at the Game Awards. It definitely has that chance to place their movement going forward in the year 2024 with indie developers really kind of shining in the spotlight.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that's a good point. It does look kind of like a Flash game, like you would have from the early 2000s, like a Newgrounds game or something.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, for me, it's gonna be a repeat, considering the fact that it's a game that really encourages you to replay it. Because sure, you can go through it one time all the way through, but if you really are trying to play the game to its maximum potential, you're wanting to replay all the levels to get the best rank you possibly can, where you're going to go through, you're going to fly through everything because now you're going to know what pathway you need to take. And the movement in the game, the system that's around that, is going to really encourage you to go through it as fast as you possibly can, like you're speedrunning the game. And that's the great thing too, is like you don't have to be a speedrunner in order to actually feel the speed that this game delivers to you. Like,
that's true.
Some games you kind of have to have a knowledge of certain tricks and sometimes exploits to make yourself feel like you're really going through the game really quickly. But with this game, you don't need to do that. It's just all built in already.
Yeah, and it definitely has some of those fun elements that are kind of taken from the Super Mario Bros. Wonder. For example, Mario can pick up the element to become an elephant. Peppino Spaghetti can unlock elements like grabbing a sword in a level and then it makes them medieval. Those are some of those fun elements. The boss battles are pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
$20. I mean, it's a great bang for your buck. It's just not something personally for me. I've been kind of a hater for these like 2D kind of style of games, but it's like HenricK saying, it's being praised throughout. Industry leaders and even gaming talents are very jazzed to even kind of see some of these games even be revitalized and being set forward for a younger generation that didn't necessarily get to have that same playing style that we grew up with. And it's being gravitated of all ages. It's just not personally for me. And it's not a skill issue. It's just what it is. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of the Wario Land series growing up, and Wario Land 4 is really the precedent that this game tries to follow after. And I mean, I think they completely nailed it in terms of keeping the same feel as Wario Land 4, yet also iterating it on this at the same time. And that's actually a good thing, I think, because Nintendo hasn't touched Wario as a character outside of the like big games, like the I think he's in that soccer game that came out last year, for example.
True, but he hasn't even broken even on the cinematic screen. I mean, they've been even kind of joking that like Wario and Waluigi even might make an appearance. Finally. I'm shocked they didn't even take the opportunity to even give us a mid-credits scene.
Yeah, which was disappointing to me. I'm like, come on. You can't introduce Mario and Luigi and not introduce the Bad Brothers as well. Like, they're the iconic duo that goes alongside them.
But I think, even just kind of even wrap up the pause or repeat, when it comes to Peppino Spaghetti, because obviously it starts off with kind of like his pizza's not always the greatest, and he's going after like some Pizza King, up in the sky. What would be that pizza service that Peppino Spaghetti is compared to? Is it Little Caesars? Is it Pizza Hut? Is it Domino's? Is it Papa John's? Are you even afraid to even say a name?
Probably it would be like a Little Caesars, ready to go in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I think Peppino Spaghetti is a Little Caesar in my book. But hey, it's a pause for me. And HenricK, you want to reconfirm what you've been saying?
Yep, it's a repeat for me.
Hey, but let us know, gamers. We want to hear from you. Is Pizza Tower a lock, or are you going to throw it out and make it like a burnt pizza? I have no idea. But hey, stick around because we got so much more left here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Fortnite, developed by Epic Games, introduced new age and content ratings for every island in-game on November 16th. The idea was to inform parents and players about the experiences that each island in game mode would provide and also allow restrictions based on family preferences. As you can see from this image, you're going, what is wrong with that girl? I thought this game was rated teen for teenagers. But because they want to try to create an environment kind of similar, I would say, to Roblox. What would you say, HenricK? Like Roblox, trying to make it E for everyone with not just the battle royale, but other elements inside.
Yeah,
Fortnite.
like a social experience that anyone can hop into regardless of age. I will say at the same time, Roblox does try to go in that route of dating. We've covered that before.
And we did
But,
discuss how cringy that sounds.
Yeah.
For the 17 plus experience. Why didn't they just make it 18? Are they trying to cater for like Japanese? Oh God, we're not going to go there. But anyways, let's stick back to the Fortnite ordeal. As a result, players found that they had spent money on in-game cosmetics, but want to be able to use them on their favorite maps, modes, or more, leading to many calling for refunds in what they deemed as the worst update in the history of the game. And in a surprising turn of events, Fortnite has now acknowledged the mistake by tweeting the following. So the very first comment that we got was, well, our plan for cosmetics with the ratings update didn't hit the mark. We're working on a few new options that we hope to have in place for, say, some sort of big in-game event. Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. That might be the Game Awards that they're talking about. That was my first reaction. But
yeah, that definitely could be. I mean, that's a big event coming up. So
massively. But why would you even want younger kids to be voting in the Game Awards when there's like rated teen and rated M games that they have no idea because, right, they're not supposed to be in the hands of children. But anyways, let's move on because this tweet happened last night on November 20th. Fortnite responded by saying, we hear your feedback and are back with more info, with the heart being punctured. They're having way too much fun with these emojis. Anyways, moving on with the tweet. He says, until we have our long-term solution, cosmetics gating will be off for the majority of cosmetics, starting with the version 28 update. And you can use any cosmetics at our next big in-game event. So they have clearly listened to the response from gamers because most affected were weapon cosmetics such as pistols and knives, but there were major issues with the consistency with which the restrictions were applied. For example, gamers were quick to discover online that Michael Myers, a skin representing a fictional serial killer, was not restricted despite its thematic violence. And even Fortnite tried to clap back at gamers online and be like, hey, it's only 7% of in-game cosmetics that actually got banned. You're like, really? That's what created all the outrage. So let's go ahead and take down the lower third real quick, HenricK, because we're going to go ahead and start reading the comments. Very first one that we got here is easy solution. Make an optional parental setting on all accounts for skins. I can still wear my Leon skin, for example. The other person with the parental setting on will see a default skin. Win-win for everyone.
That is a good option, I think, so long as it legally, or at least whatever they're trying to, goal they're trying to achieve actually works for them. I think this is a good solution because, if you buy a skin, you're going to want to, you want to use it,
Exactly. I mean, why is it that the gamers have better ideas than the knuckleheads at the top? The next
because
comment
they're not gamers up at the top.
That's a very bold take, and that could be very well the case. It's a shooting game with the ice cream melting. I love it. The game has always been violent, laughing out loud. Since day one, we've been eliminating people. That's the joke about all this ordeal when it comes to Epic Games. Bro, this is extremely random and unnecessary. Do they know the game consists of guns? Yeah, we've all been wondering. Age restricting skins with guns and a third person shooter. These Nimrods are so neuro impaired. And last, getting the new generation accustomed to censorship. I see. That's a bold take. Why are they so fearful? I mean, in the post Donald Mustard era, the whole idea of protecting the little eyes from the scary faces and pistols and holsters is such a ludicrous thing to be worried about now, especially considering how the game is a teen rated shooting game. What's your thoughts, Henrik?
Yeah, no, definitely. The teen rating, that's a good point to begin with, obviously. But I think also, like those commenters said, it's a shooting game. You're shooting other people. I mean, yeah, there's other modes in the game other than the Battle Royale. But at the end of the day, the core gameplay of that game is to shoot other people and kill them.
Yeah,
So,
I
like, that
mean,
in
are
itself
we
is already
gonna start?
violent.
Yeah, are we gonna start correcting our wrongs and we're gonna go and start retweaking for a remake and remaster of Pokemon, for example? And we're gonna go, they didn't faint, they just fell asleep. Is that how are we gonna start? This is starting to sound like one big George Carlin skit because again, it's not rated E at 10 plus, right? It's a rated teen game. So if they're so concerned about the age demographic from 13 years old and down, why would they restrict it for everyone that's been playing in the thousands and the millions when it comes to these creative maps and in-game events? It just sounds completely absurd.
No, yeah, definitely. And like I was saying, if you buy a skin in that game, you're gonna want to show it off. Like
Yeah,
I'm not trying to buy a Michael Myers skin and then never be able to see it in any of the events. Like that would be ridiculous in my opinion. I can only see it in one of the modes, but not in
yeah.
the big event where I'm hanging out with my friends. Come
Well,
on,
I thought some of the
I want
funnier
to show it
elements.
off.
Yeah, I thought some of the funnier elements were like being a PlayStation Plus gamer. Fortnite tends to have a collaboration with Sony, and every like maybe 3 or 4 months they'll give you a free skin. Some of
Mhm.
those free skins were getting blocked out. So is Sony in the wrong for promoting violence that's free for everybody to download on their PS store?
I mean, at the same time, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, maybe some IPs that are getting skins are meant for mature audiences, but like taken out of context, a character like John Wick, he's from a rated R movie, but out
Yeah.
of context, he just looks like a dude in a suit. That's it.
But that's a
What's wrong with
no-no,
that?
Henry. He might he might come for your child, I guess. I don't know. He's gonna
Hey,
maybe
I
this
didn't
is a
kill his
lawsuit.
dog.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. I didn't take out his dog. But it's ludicrous. It's completely insane. We're super excited that Fortnite has repositioned their thoughts, but we will have to see moving forward. Obviously, they are postponing this until I'm assuming the new year. So keep a lookout for that because if this is the case that they are going to stand by this notion, I don't know about you. I'm going for I want the money. I want my money back. That's ridiculous. There's no way in
I would
hell
too.
that's totally acceptable. And
Yeah.
HenricK, why don't you set the tone? Because this has been kind of a funny story that's been circulating. We wanted to actually give it some air around it because we were kind of we weren't even really sure if people in the gaming news industry were actually reporting on this correctly. So set the tone, let people know what's good. Why is there so much outrage when it comes to Take-Two publishers?
Yeah, so there's a story that has been doing the rounds about Strauss Zelnick, and he's the CEO of GTA publisher Take Two Interactive, and he thinks that games should be priced by the hour. This has come from a quote in Take Two's quarter two earnings call when a Goldman Sachs analyst asked Zelnick for his views on subscription pricing in the broader entertainment market. Zelnick's answer actually doesn't suggest games should be priced hourly. It's worded a little bit differently. And instead, his response is simply the same long held view from executives in this business that video games, broadly speaking, are good value for money because of the depth and length of the experience compared to other things like movies, for example. And
Yeah.
we have a quote. So here's the quote.
In terms of pricing for any entertainment property, basically the algorithm is the value of the expected entertainment usage, which is to say that the per hour value times the number of expected hours plus the terminal value that's perceived by the customer in ownership if the title is owned or subscribed to. And you'll see that bears out in every kind of entertainment vehicle. The quote continues. By that standard, our frontline prices are still very, very low because we offer many hours of engagement. The values of the engagement is very high. So I think the industry as a whole offers a terrific price to value opportunity for consumers. That doesn't necessarily mean that the industry has pricing power or wants to have pricing power. So, you see what he said, and then you see like the quick, photos on Instagram, and you're going, oh my God, he really wants to charge us by the hour. Where in that quote did he say any of that? What he's trying to tell you is that the idea that video games are worth the asking price, because let's compare GTA 5. It's a $60 game, and you see the most popular movie over the summertime, Barbie, $12 a ticket for 2 hours of fun, and that's it. You're going to always go back and keep playing these games. That's what Strauss Zelnick is trying to tell people. But that didn't stop gamers from expressing their outrage and frustration and really, really sending a message to the rest of the gaming world. Do not, and I mean do not, ever charge games per hour. Very first comment we got is they could charge the prices per hour played if the strippers come out of the screen to me. Pay by the hour is the worst blank I've ever heard. Quickest way to kill a fan base. Just remember, you have a company because of us. Don't get too greedy now. This is why more and more people decide to pirate games instead. The richer these companies get, the greedier they become. And last, I'm going to die before this game comes out. It does feel like that. What happened to that Bloomberg report? We were all like on the edge of our seats. We were all anticipating the new GTA 6 trailer. What the hell is going on? But going back to the whole conversation that Strauss Zelnick was proposing when he had a conversation with Goldman Sachs, subscription prices with streaming services are rising in part because the model isn't proven particularly to be sustainable. That's talking about Netflix. It's talking about Amazon. Let's talk about Hulu, Disney Plus included. They're finding out when they start seeing their earnings report that they aren't getting back their return. They're providing a lot more entertainment, but they are not seeing the value of their dollar coming back to them. So that kind of got me thinking about, the whole cloud gaming future. And you start seeing, AAA properties. Will they embrace the microtransaction route and ditch the idea of bringing their game or their IPs to a cloud gaming service? What do you think about all this, HenricK?
I would say they've already been doing that. A lot of games don't actually show up on cloud streaming services. And that probably is largely due to the fact that they want to have full control over where people are playing them.
So Starfield's not a AAA game? Is that what you're telling me?
Some people would say that it's not.
Right there.
Some people would say it's not. But, when they also have control of where you're playing it, they have control of where you're purchasing microtransactions, whether it be through Steam or through the Epic Game Store or PSN or Xbox, whoever. They're able to take some cut from that. Whereas I want to say most likely when someone's playing a game through a cloud gaming service, they're going to be maybe a little less inclined to actually do any microtransaction purchases because they're already paying for a subscription to play the game. They're paying monthly to do that.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point because, in my experience, at least being a year into cloud gaming, it's true. That's the beauty about it. You play a game, you burn through it as quickly as possible, and then you move on. Most of the time, you won't complete all the side quests. You don't really care to get the 100%, trophy quests. None of that really applies. But then, we were just talking on Pause or Repeat. Pizza Tower, I really liked the game. It wasn't necessarily something that I would repeat, but you really loved it. But knowing that the game is a 5 to 6 hour completion time, and you start hearing this whole idea about, the entertainment value. Some people you think about Assassin's Creed Mirage, for example. Ubisoft took that gamble and they felt like, what? Length is an issue. And we understand that the consumer, us gamers, are going to take that into account. And remember, we talked about country-based and city-based when it came to the Assassin's Creed games. People were calling country-based games like Odyssey and Origins as being like way too massive. I need something that's a little bit more downgraded because I'm a dad now. I'm a father of 3. I don't have the opportunity to play 120 hours, or 300 plus hours like in Baldur's Gate 3. I need something that's a little bit more condensed. And so Assassin's Creed took that into account. And with their newest IP, they're making the game $50. But then you see Super Mario Bros. Wonder with a similar completion time, and they want $70, like Spider-Man 2. Will that always be the fixed standard, or will we start to see gaming studios start to realize that, the price tier might have to be adjusted by not by a price per hour, by the completion time of a video game?
It's a slippery slope, though. When you go that route, when you're trying to evaluate the price of a game based on its length, there's a lot of longer games, those 100+ hour games like Assassin's Creed, that you won't necessarily go through all the content because a lot of it's going to feel like filler. Like you just go a place, you kill a dude, you move on. That's not really that exciting, personally. But I think it's going to be interesting because I feel like already the shift to $70 for a game is something that was not liked. So if they want to get any, good opinions from gamers, maybe they should start pricing some games at lower than $60 to be like, hey, we realize, our game's not really that long. So here's $50 and we'll make back our profits more so in microtransactions anyways. So might as well just sell the game for a little bit less than what you're expecting.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. But then I start thinking about Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I know the budget has been a little iffy. No one really knows how much they spent, but I'm assuming, because like we've spoken in the past about like Horizon Forbidden West and Last of Us Part 2, those were $200 to $300 million budgets. And so those studio companies would defend themselves and be like, no, we need to get that back returned. It is very much justifiable compared to like the indie studio companies. They always feel like they've been stuck at a fixated rate for like the longest time. It's always either $15 or $20. You'll never see an indie game ever or hardly reach the $30 mark. And that's why I feel like there is a little bit of pressure when it comes to these AAA properties to start considering, should you guys not always compare yourself to $70? Like The Legend of Zelda, like the newest one, really felt like it deserved to be the first time Nintendo priced a game at $70. But then you look at Super Mario Bros. Wonder and how the hell it ever got nominated for the Game Awards is beyond me. But it's 16 to 20 hours. Some people would say, well, you do the math, it's about $3.50 per hour. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that certain games really shouldn't be valued again at $70. And that's as much as I'm going to say. And I guess, the final food for thought is ask a gamer how they feel about buying a mobile game for $10 and how they feel buying a game for $70 on the console. You're always going to get a different answer. So this is a very challenging debate, but you, the gamers, let us know what's good. We'd love to know your thoughts.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to say, just as one final comment, I will say that the mobile gamer is vastly different in terms of what they're willing to do compared to a console or PC gamer. We've seen that in statistics already, that mobile gamers are willing to shell out a lot more for microtransactions.
Yeah, it's actually the most dominant form of gaming still at this moment. And there's a reason why Sony is trying to get involved with Apple to try to bring their AAA properties to the iPhone 15 Pro, not the iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro. Sorry, that's how it rolls. And not you, Android.
But moving on, what's going on with Naughty Dog? There's some narrative about Naughty Dog that people are speaking about.
Yeah, let's go ahead and break it down, because it's become something of a running joke in the industry that Naughty Dog keeps remastering and re-releasing their games, even when they're barely a few years old. Just in 2023, two of the biggest games were big budget remakes. The Resident Evil remake revived the 2005 original, and the Dead Space remake brought back the 2008 title. But The Last of Us Part 2 on PS5 particularly feels like a tiresome business move to make more money for Sony. And they did release a trailer for the new remastered edition of The Last of Us Part 2. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Because of her, actually gonna make a cure. The only catch. Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing in here?
It would kill her.
And this is a great discussion in the gaming community because it's feels pretty split right now. So let me go ahead and showcase you guys the comments that have been circulating all across the globe. First comment was, this is a W. Upgrade for $10 and you get the new content. But just to clarify, if you had the PS4 edition and you want to upgrade to the new remastered PS5, you just pay $10 and you will get some of those previous lost levels, which baffles me why they even removed it from the game in the first place. And I guess you have different skins that you could choose from and etc. So there's one person that's really vibing with it. But then you get someone that's like, we will not be buying this unless it comes with the Bloodborne remastered.
Exactly. Where's the Bloodborne remaster? They've been, saying that this game's never going to come back, basically, but everyone wants it to come back. It's like they completely ignore it.
It feels more justifiable because it came out in the PS3. So, again, this is a game that came out like 3 or 4 years ago. So let's move on with the comments because the next person said, no one asked for this. Previous cut, lost levels? Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, what more are they going to add to the story beyond what we already know? No, it doesn't need a remastered because the base game runs at 1440 pixels, 60 frames per second on the PS5. With that said, I'm getting it 100% and getting the platinum. I think the frustration comes from ND has no new games for PS5 and now 3 remasters in the first 3+ years of the PS5. Excellent point. And then IGN, they did a poll. They had over 2,100 voters, and it's about a 60-40 ratio. No, it's just fine as it is on the PS5. So that's why it's become this kind of running joke. And as you just expressed right now, you're going, there are like other games we can focus on. Do people not, or do they not realize that like Bloodborne, for example, a fan favorite, might not necessarily be for me, but it doesn't even have a PC port yet. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Exactly. That's why when we did Lies of P for Pause or Repeat, I was like, this is like Bloodborne, but for PC. Because so many people want it. There's so many games, not even just Bloodborne, but just games in general that people would like to have updated for the newer consoles. Because, maybe you don't have access to an older console anymore and you want to play that game. And they're very willing to do remasters, clearly. There's been plenty this year already. But for some reason, they're just not doing certain games. And instead, we have things like this, where a game that comes out less than 4 years ago gets a remaster.
Yeah. No, it sounds totally insane because you think about, like, in my experience, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I never grew up playing Final Fantasy. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse, never had any kind of consideration or even thought to even try to pick up the game. But I want to be a part of the culture. I want to see why it's become such a fan favorite for even the older generations and even people like myself. And this is why I want to showcase the side-by-side comparison of the Final Fantasy VII, which was first released in 1997. And this is why Final Fantasy VII Remake feels way more justifiable than getting another. Like, this is the second edition of a remaster for The Last of Us Part 2. Let me make my case. Let's go ahead and showcase the video.
Get down here, Merc.
Part of the game being justified is that it's a fan favorite and it's never been touched since the original. But at the same time, like, you can't look at that footage and say, okay, yeah, they actually did something.
Yeah, it's a completely different gaming experience. I know even in that video, it was more showcasing some of the more cinematic elements, but when you play Final Fantasy VII back in the day, it was more of like the new Super Mario RPG. It was more
Yeah,
of
it's
that kind of style
turn-based
game.
combat.
Exactly. And then you go and play Final Fantasy VII Remake, you feel like you're playing like Devil May Cry 5. You're like, this
Yeah.
is so badass. This is a totally new re-immersive experience that I didn't even think would even be possible with this game. And that's why it's being celebrated. And it's kind of its own franchise in and alone of itself. I know even starting in the new year, I think around February, they're doing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or something like that, continuing Cloud story. So
Yep.
I mean, it's just insane like that there's right ways to approach remakes and remasters compared to what I will dub as re-releasing when it comes to The Last of Us. And I don't know if you remember, HenricK, The Last of Us, the very first game, had its own DLC, Left Behind. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a fast burner. You can burn through it, but it continues on the story like the prequel to Ella's life that's got later explored in the HBO series.
Yeah.
Why did they not feel like they could have just done a DLC with this? With the previous Lost Levels.
We'll probably never know. Most likely, those lost levels were just like a director's vision, and then someone came in and said, "This game's too long, cut." And now
Yeah.
they're putting it back in, and I can at least praise them for not charging the full price for an upgrade to the new version. At least it's only $10, but there's some games out there that do the upgrade for free.
But some people are kind of calling out Naughty Dog because the game again has been out for like 4 years or about to be approaching Black Friday. The game doesn't at least the new remaster doesn't drop until January. I believe it was 17th. And so that's why people kind of feel like it's like, dude, what if I didn't already have the PS4 edition? You expect me to pay for a game that's been out for 4 years at the same fixed price of $70? That's the issue that gamers have and feel like the game should at least come out to $50. That's why it goes back to this whole Strauss Zelnick ordeal with the GTA publishers. They're like, guys, what don't you understand? Not everybody is willing to fork out $70 for your work, even though we understand that the value matches the entertainment. It's just not
Yeah,
gonna
not
happen.
not every game needs to be priced at 70. Not every game's going to be worth $70. A lot of people are probably going to wait until this goes on sale before they actually buy it. And maybe those companies should look at the metrics and see who buys the game when it comes out and who buys it when it's on sale, and see, hey, we got a lot more sales than this game was on sale. Maybe we shouldn't, launch it at a full price next time we do a game. Maybe we should consider maybe launching it for less because people would be more inclined to buy it.
Right. And I'm wondering if they're actually going to get the success that they're hoping for because, Last of Us Part 2 has been very controversial with gamers. Some people really despise the game while others will still continue to play it on a rerun. Like myself, I really love the gaming element. I think it's really, really fun. I didn't really have too much of an issue with the storyline per se. All I know is that the game can't end the way that it ended. I think that's why people are despising. Like, that's it. You really guys are not going to consider a part 3. That's why I can understand the frustration. So we'll see. And then when you think about the previous Lost Levels, I'm kind of wondering, knowing that Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are about to get ready because the strikes are over to start shooting season 2 of The Last of Us, and my thought keeps fluttering whether there's a reason why they're bringing back the Lost Levels, because some of those elements might actually help the TV series tell the story a little bit better and then branch out part 2 into 3 seasons, which has been kind of being fluttered around on cinematic outlets like Variety or Vox, for example.
That's a good point. Yeah, they might actually have a chance to tell those stories in the TV series. And in that case, like if you are going to do that in the game, in the TV series, you might as well put them in the game so
Right.
people can play them.
because then you're gonna get gamers that are gonna be like, why did you add that? That was never in the game. And then they're gonna be like, no, that was always our original thought. And you won't know that unless you buy our remastered. $70, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So hey, I don't know about you gamers. We definitely want to know your thoughts. Join the conversation. Your voice needs to be heard. But hey, HenricK, this is really cool or pretty lame. You decide, gamers. Set the tone, HenricK. What's going on?
Sure. So, in unprecedented news, legendary Spanish soccer club FC Barcelona, home to Messi for 21 years, so pretty big deal,
Big
has
deal.
launched video game platform Barca Games, the first of its kind created by a sports club. And the new platform will not only offer games, but also a variety of streaming services, including series, documentaries, movies, and all catering to the gaming community. Now, what does that mean? Well, we don't really
We
know
don't even
because
know.
they kind of left it a little vague on what's going on, what they're planning. They just said, "Hey, we're working on something," and it is slated to launch in April next year. So kind of around the corner. Barca Games forms part of the club's aim to create digital content for entertainment, together with the mission to approach new audiences and reach new generations of fans. We do have a video, so let's take a look.
HenricK, I think it's important to emphasize again, this is the very first sports club to create their own video game platform. You, the gamers, just saw the visual for Barca Games, and I'm still wondering, what in the world was that? I feel like I'm playing Pokemon Go in real time. What are you acquiring points for? You see the visuals of the gamers up there, and I hate to break it to you, none of them look like esports players. I have this vision of what an esports player is. That didn't encompass it for me. I thought they had over 400 million followers on social media combined with all the platforms. So why do they feel like now they got to embrace a new audience? Are they fearful that FC Barcelona is not going to be represented to the high stature that they once were because Messi was with them for over 21 years? What the hell?
I mean, maybe part of it could be also they see money in this. I mean, definitely they do. But with the gaming industry continuing to grow, there's been a lot of esports scenes for games that have actually died in the last couple of years, where like the companies behind them have no longer had an interest in actually keeping them afloat. So they've just shut down the leagues completely, leaving it then to the gamers to either find another league to go play that game with, or to just rely on the community to put together some sort of tournament in the first place. So maybe they could go and actually partner with some games that don't have esports anymore. I could see them, finding some money that way at least. But it would be really weird if, like, for example, the next Call of Duty tournament was hosted by Barca Games, a football
it
club.
could be weird, but I think you're nailing it. It's the fact that FC Barcelona's got lots of dinero. They already have a massive fan base to begin with. We know in the year 2023, esports have not been successful. It's not earning the revenue expected to be able to be around for the longevity of these entertainment sporting events. And I think everybody's kind of trying to stick their hand into the cookie jar and trying to get something sweet out of it. But a lot of people have been kind of struggling with it. So to consider, a sports club like FC Barcelona wanting to take that gamble, it also makes me feel as though they felt like this was the best opportunity to finally approach the video game scope of things, because FIFA initially broke away from Electronic Arts. Now we have a new game called EA Sports FC, and maybe FC Barcelona feels like it's now their opportunity to control the football, scope of gaming, and now they can actually deliver a soccer game that, quote unquote, soccer fans have been wanting to see all these years. Am I onto something, or you're going, nah, Chris, there's a point system. Register with us, join our Discord, and you might get free swag or a $3 coupon. I don't know.
I mean, at least starting off, it's probably going to be more of that. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up finding success in this, that they'll look at the venture of actually making their own football club game, because I'm sure that people would be willing to pay them, considering it's the actual sports club.
But I don't mean to cut you off, but like, do you really think they'll be successful? Because gamers, I don't know if you noticed, we love hearing the comments from you guys. Nobody is talking about this. This was a report from Variety, IGN, GameSpot. You name all the incredible outlets out there. Not a single gaming news outlet is reporting that, again, the very first sports club is starting up their own video game platform. Why is that the case? If you can't get the support from the journalistic side of the gaming world, how can you actually embrace a new audience? That's kind of where I'm scratching my head.
It's a good point. I mean, yeah, there's no comments. We couldn't find anything of people talking about this.
Zero.
Which
Not even
is
a video
wild.
clip. Not even YouTube videos. We don't even have like random indie, social media influencers. No, but we're like the only ones.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
But I will say at the same time, I feel like a lot of times you don't hear news about organizations like this. You don't hear about NRG unless it's one of the members of NRG actually doing something. But like in terms of hearing about what the organization is doing, you don't hear much in terms of what they're doing behind the scenes, because it's all kind of behind the scenes, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we won't know initially how this is going to work out for Barca Games, because it is slated for April of 2024. Yeah. You can go to barcagames.com and you can register your email. So when they do launch that beta, you could be the first person to scope it out. I'm sort of curious. I have no idea what it's going to be. So I'm definitely going to be submitting my email address in so I can see what the hell is actually going to shake up the industry. But hey, if this is something for you, let us know what's good. Do you think it's a good idea that sports clubs are getting involved in the gaming industry, or would you rather just see them stay in their lane? Let us know what's good. But man, this was such a jam-packed show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, enough for joining us live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because if it wasn't for you guys, this show wouldn't be possible. And since you made it to the end of the show, you might as well hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. HenricK the Rex cooking up amazing content on his YouTube channel. Let the people know what's good.
Yeah, so on my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Twitter, and my TikTok, I post a series that I alternate either between games to play or in development soapbox. This week, I will unfortunately be taking a break from posting that, just considering it's Thanksgiving and Black Friday. It's going to be a wild weekend for me working in a retail space, but
at least you won't be camping out outside GameSpot. I mean,
that's true. That's true. But regardless, you can go watch either of those series. It's my chance to either tell you about a game that I really enjoy playing, or a game that's in development and needs a little bit more love because it looks awesome.
Exactly. And as HenricK the Rec hinted, we will not be having a show next Tuesday, so we will see you 2 weeks from now. Follow us on social media so you can get the inside scoop of when we will be back. But every gamer out there, I hope you have an amazing time with your friends and family on this turkey lurkey day coming up, and have some fun, fam. Stuff your platter and stuff your belly. We'll see you 2 weeks from now. Peace.
Yeah. Eat plenty of good food, but don't forget, you gotta rage sometimes.
Come on, gotta rage.
This is our chance to rage.
Let's get it, baby. We'll see you soon, fam. Peace.